Morning, Joanne.
Morning, Rosie.
How are
Morning,
you?
everybody.
How are you today?
I beg your pardon.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good, doing great. Thank you. Good to see you. Hold on a second. What is it, Doug? No, she's not. She's up there somewhere. Thank you, Doug. We got to make sure the cat and dog and everybody's out of the room. Well, the cat's actually in here, but the dog.
Yeah,
It's always fun. Did you have a nice weekend?
I did. We took a very lovely hike on Saturday. How was yours?
Yeah, it was very good. I was busy working a lot, but it was still very nice. I'm really enjoying this weather.
Yeah.
I mean, I was cold.
Sunday, it did get cold.
Yeah, it's cold. It feels cold to me right now, actually, but it's nice because one of our air conditioners is broken, the one upstairs, so it's kind of a good thing right now.
It worked out well, yeah.
Yeah, it worked out well. Good to see you, Joanne. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for doing this.
Okay, my pleasure. My goodness, I love it.
Good morning, Rosie. It's Susan.
Susan, hello. How are you today?
I'm good. I hope you are.
Yes, I'm very well. A little bit chilly. I actually considered turning the heat on, but
Yeah, I put on long sleeves.
yeah, me too. You know, we have.
I do not have 85 degrees in my house right now.
I wish we could. I know you wouldn't do that. You know, when we first moved here and it was getting cold. You know, we were from Florida, South Florida, and I remember the boys wanted the heat on it, and my friend down the street told me she used to tell her kids there was a rule that you're not allowed to turn the heat on, like a city law that you can't turn the heat on until whatever, like, you know, November or something. So I told them that. I lied. It's just terrible. But we survived. We learned how to live in the winter. So no, we're not allowed to turn the heat on in the summer in my house.
Okay, no, I wouldn't either. Okay, I'm going to turn off my audio.
Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. All right, guys, we've got one more minute. We will be using a block today, so grab a block, most likely. You may find you don't need it, but I would just have it in case. All right, we'll be starting in about 20 seconds, so grab one block just in case you need it to lengthen your arms. Well, we completed an inside, Happiness is an Inside Job. That was a fabulous book. I highly recommend it. And I've moved on to a book that just this weekend, one of my students told me about. So I have not read the whole thing, but I'm enjoying it very much. It's called The Gift of Anger. It's by Arun Gandhi, who is the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. And just figured it was appropriate for what's going on in our lives these days. We'll go through it It's a very simple book, but it's really beautiful so far. The idea of looking at anger as a gift really ties in with everything we've been talking about in yoga, of course. And it's the idea that anger is part of our lives. It's just part of what we are, and there's probably a very good reason for it, evolutionarily speaking. But as it is now, we're not going to get rid of anger. And little Aaron, grandson Aaron, is very surprised when his grandfather tells him that he too is an angry person, because he doesn't see it. But the point is the response to anger, just like everything else we've been learning in our yoga philosophy. It's our response to anger. And there's a beautiful little thing that he says, when we channel electricity intelligently, we can use it to improve our life. But if we abuse it, we could die. So as with electricity, we must learn to use anger wisely for the good of humanity. And what he says is we can use our anger to bring about good things, justice, and change that's needed. All right, so on that note, let's begin lying on our mats in a pose that I call banana pose. So if you want to just look up real quick, I can show it. When we start, we'll shoot our hips to the left. The feet and the arms go to the right. But here's the thing, you have to keep the left hip and the left shoulder on the ground. So you may not have a very big banana curve. So I'll walk you through that. Let's go ahead and lie down. First, shift your hips a little bit off to the left, and then walk your feet to the right. Don't let that left hip lift. Same thing with the arms. You can lift the arms overhead and then slide them to the right. If you're able to take the torso to the right a little bit without shooting the hips, try it. But we want to leave left shoulder on the mat and left hip on the mat. Now once you're here, cross left ankle over right, still hip is down, and take hold of the left arm. So I'm going to do it in standing just to show what it looks like. Left leg is crossed. You're taking the left arm. Now we're pulling left hip to the floor and left shoulder to the floor. And see how that feels. Take a couple of breaths. Sometimes anger manifests in ways that we're not even aware of. So you could be, quote unquote, angry that your class is starting in banana pose, which is a crazy way to start a power yoga class. But see if you can shift and direct that feeling of discomfort into something that can aid you in this pose, like maybe backing off a little bit so that the left hip can drop in the left shoulder. Take another breath. And we'll make our way out of that, even everything out. Draw the hip center and just shake your feet a little bit. And we'll go to the opposite side. Hips shoot to the right, legs to the left. Now watch that right hip as it wants to creep up. Draw your uplifted arms so they're over the head to the left, keeping right shoulder down. Cross the right ankle. Make sure you check back into right hip. Take hold of the right wrist and give yourself a nice big pull. Again, I'm going to do it in standing just to make sure everybody can see what we're doing. So when we do this in standing, you'll notice on this side, the right hip will come forward. So take note of it now and see if you can feel what it feels like in your body to have that right hip pulled back, and the same with the right shoulder. All right, let's go ahead and release. Come to center on your mat, lying down. Shake your legs out. In some mindful fashion, roll over and come on up. We'll come onto all fours. And once you're up, we're going to repeat a similar thing. We'll shift the hips to the left. Start to look over your right shoulder and even start to hinge a little left as if you were going to touch that left hip towards the floor. Make sure to push away with the left shoulder so you're not coming up towards your ear. Nice big stretch on that whole left side. Come on back to center, all fours for chin, chest, and knees. We'll squeeze elbows in, lower chin and chest. Scoop it through for a little mini cobra pose. Roll the shoulders up and back and take it up, downward facing dog. Big breath in and out. Lower back down to all fours, release the toes. Start to look over your left shoulder, pushing the hips to the right. and looking over left side. And then again, hinge as if you were going to drop that right hip towards the floor, but we won't. It's just a nice super stretch. Check into right shoulder. Make sure you're not sagging towards the ear. And make your way back to center. Again, chin, chest, and knees. Squeezing elbows in, lower chin and chest. Scoop it through, rolling the shoulders up and back. And then lift up, downward facing dog. Inhale. And exhale. One of the ways to strengthen your mind, which is what Mahat told, Aaron, is by visualizing something beautiful. You look at it for a minute, then close your eyes and see if you can still retain that image. Bend your knees here, look forward, step or hop it up. Come up halfway. Now exhale, release everything down. Inhale, come to standing, arms come with you. Big stretch at the top, maybe even a little tiny back bend. Now keep your belly strong as you exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or hop it back, straight through chaturanga or not. Up dog or cobra. And downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Right leg forward, low lunge position. So drop down to left knee. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hinge over right leg. Inhale, back to center. Step the right leg back, plank pose or lower chaturanga. Lift your heart, up dog or cobra. And downward facing dog. One breath. Left leg forward, low lunge position. Inhale, lift. Exhale, stretch over left leg. Inhale, back to center. Step left leg back, plank pose, lower chaturanga. Lift your beautiful heart as you breathe in, and then come right back downward facing dog. So try that now. Think of a beautiful flower or maybe something in your room that you see that's beautiful. Close your eyes. And just for the next 2 breaths, see if you can hold on to that image. And it has to be something that's beautiful and something that brings you joy. Bend the knees, look forward, step or hop it up. Come up halfway. Exhale, release forward. Inhale, standing, arms come with you as we stretch at the very top, and we'll do one more. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for half lift. Exhale, step or hop it back, lowering chaturanga. Lift your beautiful heart coming up and take it back, downward facing dog. One breath in and out. Left leg forward, high lunge position. Inhale to come up. Exhale, prayer twist left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands to the floor, left leg up, 1 or 2 legs to descend. So lowering chaturanga or trianga, 1 or 2 legged up dog, and then 1-legged downward facing dog. Left leg lifts, and then replace the leg, down dog. Inhale, and exhale. Right leg forward, inhale, lift. Exhale, prayer twist to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands to the floor, right leg back. Take it down 1 or 2 legs. 1 or 2-legged up dog. 1-legged downward facing, right leg lifts. Replace the leg. And then breathe in. And out. Last breath here. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop it up, and come up halfway. Exhale, release. Inhale, standing, arms come with you. And then draw hands to heart center. All right, so we'll repeat banana pose in this standing position. Taking the left leg in front, cross it, and then find a way to see that you're not facing the right side. So it may mean a wider cross. We want both hips about even. Arms come up, we take hold of left arm. Big inhale to lift here, and on the exhale, hinge to your right. You can allow the hips to go left, but avoid this twist to the right. We're trying to keep the shoulders and the hips somewhat even. Pushing hips left, reaching the arms to the right, and then release. Coming back to center, unfurl everything. Lift your beautiful heart up, opening the front side. If you feel you'd like to take hands to the hips for your back bend, that's great. Either way, hips forward, weights in the heels, and we pull the belly in, opening up the front side. Lift back up, separate feet, just a little tiny bit. It's not a very wide separation. Hands at the hips, roll shoulders up, pull the belly in, exhale, hinge forward, peace fingers to the big toes. If they don't reach, stop along the way. Now shift forward into toes, let the head be heavy, shake it out, yes and no, and then pull up on your toes as you push down on your fingertips. Lift the kneecaps. Another big breath. Release and come up halfway, step the feet together, squat down, chair pose. Take it all the way up. Trying to stack shoulders over hips and squatting down. Now pull your rib cage in, half an inch as you inhale, and then exhale, prayer twist to the right. Pay attention to left knee. If it jets forward, pull the left hip crease back. We can stay just like this, or maybe you want to separate arms, or maybe you want to play today in a little balancing pose. Soft breath, whatever you're doing. Then we all meet back up in twisted chair. So I have my block ready. If you have yours nearby, go ahead and grab it. And then from here, we keep chair as we unfurl, left hand to hip, releasing the right foot so that it starts to come heel towards the hip. Now try to leave the knees in the same line in the beginning. We squat down. And then at some point where you can't squat anymore, that's where you'll want your block. Touch the block or the floor. Keep squatting as you release the knees. Start to point the right knee up towards the sky, but bend that left knee a lot and lift your heart. So block or floor here. One more big breath. And release. Inhale to stand up. Take your arms with you. And we'll go opposite side. Crossing right leg. Take hold of right wrist. Big inhale to lift. Exhale, stretch left. And let the hips push way off to the right. So visualize yourself back on the floor, and you'll notice it's the right hip that wanted to lift. So in this case, the right hip wants to still lift, and it twists us to the left. Try to avoid that. Take another big breath. Come on back to center, releasing everything. Big inhale to lift up, finding your back bend. So second back bend, either hands at hips or arms up. Push the hips forward, weights in the heels. Pull your belly in a lot, which is going to seem counterintuitive as you push the belly forward. Now come on back to center. Separate the feet. Roll the shoulders up and back. Exhale, hinge forward. If you're used to stepping on your palms, go for it. If you're not, or if it feels uncomfortable, you can rest the palms facing up on a block or on the top of your feet. Let your head be heavy. Shake it out so that way you know it's heavy. Another big breath. And mindfully we release hands from the feet, step the feet together, inhale up for chair pose. So in the first part of chair pose, we're just coming to straight. We're trying to draw the shoulders back so they're over the hips. The weight goes back into the heels. Now just take a little half an inch lift as you fill up with air, and then exhale, prayer twist to your left. Pay attention to the right side. The right knee, if it jets forward, all it means is you just twisted there, so pull the right hip crease back. Again, maybe you separate the hands, maybe you stay exactly as you are, which I think is the hardest part, or maybe you float into some kind of balancing pose. Just play a little bit, make it feel good. Now, as we start to unfurl, we're going to keep chair pose, so come on back. And we come into straightness here, but with our chair pose, have your block ready. Right hand starts at the hip. Left heel comes towards the left hip. Keep squatting right side. So the knees are together in the beginning, but you notice the more you squat, the harder that gets. So where you decide to stop, you stop, rest the hand. Keep the right leg squatted as you kick left knee up towards the sky. Squat some more, arch your spine. Last breath. And release. Inhale, come up. Strong belly. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or hop it back. Float straight through or hang out somewhere else. Up dog or cobra. Nice big stretch. And downward facing. Inhale. Exhale. Right leg lifts. We stack the hips, bend the knee, lift your head, look over left shoulder. If everything's good, you can stay or play. Maybe it's a side plank today. Maybe you're flipping the dog. They're all good. As long as it's safe for your body. Paying particular attention to left shoulder at this moment. Come on back. Keep the right leg lifted. And we'll send it underneath our body. So now we switch to the right shoulder. Both toes facing the left. If everything's good, left arm lifts. How's the right shoulder? If all that is good, we play with lifting right leg. We do 3 taps. Up, down, up, down. One more. Up, down. Come back to center. Right knee to nose, forward in plank pose. Now exhale, one-legged dog. Send it back. Knee to nose, forward in plank. Exhale, one-legged dog. And again, knee to nose, forward in plank. Last one, exhale, one-legged dog. This time, swing it between your hands. Drop to left knee. Inhale to lift up. All right, from here, you might want to walk your right foot forward maybe an inch because we're going to try to work into this left front hip. So inhale as you hinge forward, pay a lot of attention there. Opening up the whole front side. Pull the right hip crease back, pull the belly in. See if you can lift your head a tiny bit so that the neckline stays with the rest of the spine. Feel the opening in the left front hip right here, working into the groin and inner thigh. And now inhale, come right back up, center. Exhale, prayer twist to the right. In this pose, start to stack the shoulders right on top of left, so that we draw the thumb towards the center of the heart. Inhale and exhale. Coming back to center, this time extend the right leg. So we'll all take just one breath right here, stretching over the right leg. And you know your body, and you know if that's the best place for you to stay. But if at this point you've warmed up enough to where you can hinge back and have the inverted left leg, that's great. You could have a block handy that maybe you rest on. So either staying in this shape with one inverted leg or stay high. We'll take a stretch over the right leg. If you're sitting down, make sure to pull the right pinky toes back and hinge over that leg. One more breath. So if you were down, make your way back up, and we all meet in that little Hanuman stretch. Walk your left hand off to the left, hinge forward with the right knee, open up and twist to the right again. This time, see how it would feel to bend the left knee and take hold of the foot. Give yourself a nice big stretch here. Release the foot, walk inside the right leg, and let's just stay in this high lifted kind of lizard pose and drop the right knee off to the right a little bit. Just feeling a nice opening there. Now again, you may want your block for this next shape that we're moving into. And if you do, just leave it lying down on its side towards the left side. So block or not, left hand comes off to the left. We try to drop down to forearm, and if that's fine. Leave it like that. If it's not, drop onto the block. What we want to pay attention to is shoulder and ear connection. So dropping down to the left forearm, twisting open to the right. Now let's make sure that right foot is flat again. And we reach around again as if to grab the back foot. Draw the heel towards the hip. I'm going to do this sideways. Checking into left shoulder. If everything's good, stay as you are. Or maybe you bend the left elbow as if to rest your head in the hand. It's a slight shift to the right. Take one more. All right, let's release all of that. Keep the right leg exactly as it is. And all we'll do is pivot our torso and left leg to the left. So the left toes come up like a skater's lunge. Perfect place to hang out. Again, if you have your block, you might want it for the right side. If you like, you could gently rest the right knee on the block and pull the left toes back. Taking hands to heart, open up your heart, pull the left toes back. Find a sense of balance. One more breath. All right, we'll release the hands to the floor. Just kind of crawl yourself off to the left. Pivot your toes in so they're parallel to each other. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hinge forward. Let the head be heavy. Shift slightly into your toes. Not stay long. We'll come back to that in just a moment. Hands to hips. Inhale, lift up, pivot toes out. Interlacing, right thumb on top. Pop your palms up to the sky and find your yogic squat. We're going to pulse 8 times. So it's down, up, 2, reach the palms as high as you can. 6, 7, 8. Come up, pivot the toes in, open your heart. Draw the hands behind you, interlacing right thumb on top. Shrug shoulders. Exhale, hinge forward. Allow the weight to stay forward into the toes. And if it's okay with your shoulders, let the hands release from the sacrum. Go super mindfully here. Next in-breath, mindfully start to make your way back up. Pivot your right toes open, preparation for triangle pose. Releasing the right arms nice and long, hinge forward, tilt down, maybe stopping halfway first so that we can align left shoulder on top of right. And then make your way down, block, big toe, floor. If it's okay, drishti's up to left fingertips, but play with that one for the neck. Or if you have these heavy duty lights shining down, it doesn't feel very good. All right, staying like this, or we add strengthening pose. Right arm comes, checking that left shoulder didn't dive in. Left arm over the ear, same thing, we're not diving in, it's almost a twist to the left. Hover and hold. And then inhale, come right back up. Bend the right knee, have your block handy if you need it for half moon in a moment. And we move into side angle. Resting the right arm, right on the leg, or taking it to the floor, inside or out. Left arm comes over left ear. See if you can flip the palm a little bit so the thumb is up, pinky down. And then look underneath your left armpit, making sure right knee stays open. One more nice big Ujjayi breath here. And start to think of half moon pose. So if you have a block, go ahead and take it in your right hand. Shoot forward 1.5 to 2 feet. As you lift up, come into this stacking place. Left shoulder on top of right. Left hip on top. Hover and hold. Or bend the left knee for Chandra Chakra. One more. Release everything as you tilt left, come back to wide legs, pivot the right toe in to meet the left, shoulders shrug up and back. Inhale here. As you exhale, we prepare to come to the floor. with wide legs. So you can start with your forward fold if you practice Sama Konasana, and you would just keep going, leaving the pinky toes on the floor as long as you can. And otherwise, we just find a seat and extend our legs to the place that feels comfortable. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, start to walk forward, stretching into the inner thighs. Maybe you rest right here, or maybe you go all the way down. Keep active in your feet by pulling the pinky toes towards the corresponding hips. Inhale and exhale. Take one more. Inhale and exhale. And start to make your way back up. So moving into life extending pose, that's where we try to come up without using our hands and come into a squat. So if you can do it without hands, you just draw the feet in and scooch up. But if you need your hands in the beginning, that's no problem. Coming into Upavishasana, opening up, expanding the heart, pushing the knees open, and then push your knees into your arms so you have this kind of tug of war going on. Let's take a twist to the right. Extend the left arm to the floor in front of the left shin. Lean a little bit left. Start with hand at the heart. So we're replacing anger with love, compassion, kindness, trying to be non-judgmental. Then extend your right arm open as if you're letting all that go. Now this is perfect if you'd like to practice the bind. Internal rotation with the right hand comes behind you. So from the back, you might just pat yourself on your sacrum. And then the front arm stays in front of the left shin. And ideally, one day it will grab the right wrist as you open up. Keep leaning to the left. And then from here, we can stay here, or you can play with the idea of coming to standing in this exact shape. So if you're going to come to standing, come up a little bit and just kind of tap your toes so your body gets used to having the weight just in the right leg. Then make your way up. Once you're up, expand your heart, expand the left knee. And you don't have to be bound for this. You can keep the right hand at the sacrum. But keep expanding. So think of the idea of we fill with love, so we squeeze anger out. It's there, but we don't have to respond to it. Now try to make your way back down just the same way you came up. Release everything. Lift the hips just to straighten out that left leg a little bit. Hands to hips as we come back up. Pivot your right toes. Step forward. And we'll end this